an original MCM production.
Welcome, MATA Community Media 2016 Election Interviews. My name is Wanda Montgomery, and I'll be your host for today. And I will be interviewing Chantia Lewis, candidate for the 9th Automatic District. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Well, as you stated, I am running for the 9th District. It stems over there by the Northridge area, so it goes from County Line Road to Flores with a little bit of Silver Spring at the base from Sherman to about 64th, and then we go from 124th Street to Sherman.
Okay. Well, again, welcome, and I look forward to our conversation on today. Can you share with us how you would approach needed changes that have been identified or that you have identified in the 9th Automatic District?
That is a great question, and it's one that we have been brainstorming and trying to figure out what is the best way to accomplish some of those goals. One of the main things that we see, of course, is jobs. So we need to definitely tackle the jobs, but not just focus on the anchor businesses, what I call the anchor businesses, so the Targets and the larger businesses. We need to focus on the small businesses as well. And in addition to that, we have to turn the narrative of what our district is, the way the district is being perceived. So there is a somewhat of a negative connotation to the district, where we have crime and so people are scared, so to speak, to come into our district. And I say that's a fallacy all the time. I tell people, we need to dispel that myth. So that's one way we have to tackle that, because it's not. It is a beautiful district, although, we have a lot of parts that, look very barren, but it's still a very good district. We have wonderful residents, and they are involved and aware of what's going on, and they're ready to fight for their district, as we saw with the primary results. But that's one way we have to do. We have to tackle and it's a simultaneous thing. It's not we do this and then we do that. We definitely have to tackle that narrative as well as the businesses, small and large. So one way we have to do that is focus on our small businesses. They have been hurting more than anyone, besides the residents, and some of them do live in the district, so they live there and they have their businesses there. But with the lack of foot traffic to the district, they're hurting. And so we need to make sure that as the city and as the alderperson, that we are focusing on helping them to open or to expand. So that's definitely the first component. But with that, we have to make sure that we have community centers in our district. That is something that we don't have. I always say, how do we expect our young people to do anything different if we don't have, the set policies and procedures in place for them, or the outlets for them to be able to go and, spend their time, or give them something to do. In addition to that, we don't have a lot of the what we call youth jobs. We do during the summer, which is amazing. We have the Earn and Learn, but it needs to be expanded, and it needs to be a yearly program, which I think if we reach out to, which is something that we already started doing, reaching out to, the McDonald's, the Burger Kings, and the Walgreens, because that was my first job. I worked at Walgreens at 16 and I loved it. I gained so many skills and knowledge from that. So we need to make sure that our young people have the mentorship, that guidance and that training. But in addition to that, they have the means of putting money in their own pockets. And that right there will help curtail some of those issues that we see, not just in our city, in our district, but in the city. So I think that if we focus on our young people, as one of the top priorities, we can see some of that change.
Right, and I can certainly see the correlation between the businesses closing and the youth employment.
Yes.
Another question I have is, how would you make the district better?
Oh, that is a great question. I tell people all the time that an alder person needs to be an advocate. It's not just, of course I'm outside looking in because I've never been elected to that seat. So maybe I'm just coming up with my own definition. But I really think that if you are elected to be a voice, you should be that voice. So you should not be disengaged from the community in which you are elected to be the voice of. So that's one of the major reasons why I would be different and what I could do. As a 9/11 veteran, I know how it is, what the definition is to fight for people. And that's something that I was, not only that I learned, coming out of the military, but something that I was raised to be. My mother was an activist and she marched with Father Grappi for fair housing. So I tell people all the time, it's ingrained in me to, fight for people and to, understand the importance of that grassroots movement. So that is how I will be different. I will be accessible. I will be engaged in the community because at the end of the day, I live there. And so I don't want it to be, something that, I'm not proud of. And I'm raising my children there. My husband and I, we've been married almost 11 years and we have 3 children. Okay. And so they are 10, 9, and 6. What in the world would I look like sitting back and not making sure that this district looks like, and the city for that matter, that it looks like something that I would be proud for them to be raised in. And with the statistics, we have a lot of work to do. So that's why I would be different, because I'm not only a mother and a wife and a resident and a veteran, but I'm a concerned constituent. I'm a concerned resident. So that's how I would be different.
All right. All right. Why do you think you would be the best choice for alderman or alderwoman
yes.
in your district?
Well, it's interesting that you say alderwoman. Most people, strange enough, I've been knocking doors, talking to people, and a lot of people are unaware that there is only one woman that sits on the Common Council. So 1 out of 15, that is terrible, and it's not representative of our city.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons, and not just because I will be in an addition to the women, the demographic on the Common Council, but because all of the concerns that in the passion and the drive and the things that I just mentioned previously, that it needs to be a person who's going to be an advocate, someone who is not afraid to challenge the status quo. That is something that I learned that I don't go well with, the status quo if it's hurting our community, if it's hurting, our people, just in general. So again, I am the advocate, and I am a strong voice in that. Just period.
Right.
So
right.
In that seat, I will be a strong voice. So I think that's why I'm the best candidate. And then there's another thing that I recently learned. There are no veterans on the Common Council.
Oh, wow.
That is so interesting. So not only will you get a strong voice with me as the Alderwoman of the 9th District, but you will get a woman, another woman, and you will get a veteran. So that is something that I pride myself on, simply because that just because I'm young, well, I'm not that young, I'm 36, but just because I'm young, I come with experience, and I come with, paradigms that say, I'm not just about myself.
Right.
I'm about a bigger picture, and I'm about the community and the people that I would love to serve.
So we've had some conversation around the businesses that have been lost, and some of your ideals around how to improve the district. Have you thought about, in your dream of dreams, what type of companies would you want to see in the 9th Automatic District?
Well, call it a pipe dream or a hopeful dream, but I would love to see the major businesses that we lost come back.
Okay.
We need our target. Point blank, we need our target, and we need a grocery store. And the sad truth is, we don't have one now, so we need a grocery store.
So there's no store. Well, I know Pick and Save was there, so there's no.
Yes.
No store in the district now.
Not so. We have one now. We have one Pick and Save that is left in the district. Everything else is outside, and then we have one Aldi's.
Okay.
And so right on the Brown Deer Strip, the only thing that is there is that Aldi. So if they leave, then we don't have anything. So I'm very fearful that we may not have that. So I'm like, we need to get those stores back in there. But in addition to that, I would love to go back to the way we used to be. The 9th District, that Northridge area was such a thriving and booming area. Yeah. But in addition to that, it was a family-friendly area. You had a movie theater. You had the Johnsons, what was it? The
amusement park with the slides.
Yes. I would love to see that back in the district. In addition to that, technically the bowling alley wasn't in the district. It was just outside, but we need the bowling alley back. We had a skating ring. We need that back. That was some amazing items or businesses that we had in the district. That was wonderful. Now, I will say we do have the bike park. So it's an indoor bike park, and it's very well trafficked. It's in the old Menards building right on 76th Street. Across from a model.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that is one of the good things about that. We need to have more of those things in the district because, we have a lot of young families in our district. And so we should be able to live, work, and play in our area. So that would be, my dream for the district.
Absolutely. Well, and I know that you are doing a lot of campaigning. You're doing a lot of doors.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you're hearing, say from, and you can kind of preference it, maybe some people who've been in the district for a long time, and maybe those who are fairly new to the district. Why did they move there? And why are the ones that are there for many years, why do they stay?
Okay, yeah. Well, as I talk to the people knocking on the doors, you would be amazed. I've had so many people tell me, I bought this house when I first got married, and they are well past retirement age, and they've been there, they've raised their kids there, and they stayed because they have so many memories there. And they tell me things about, the district that I did not have the chance to experience because it was in the 70s and the early 80s. So it's amazing to hear the stories, and they stayed because, one, because of the memories. Right. But the sad part is, that when they get to that, the conversations that I've had, they're thinking about leaving. So I tell them, just hold on. Yeah. Don't leave. But that's one of the reasons, they just love it. It's nostalgic for them. A lot of them, it's very nostalgic. And I've had conversations with people who have just moved into the district. And, they say that the area is beautiful. We have the Northridge Lakes. I know a lot of people that built their house over there or that moved into the Harbor Point. So they get to have the views and, the serenity around those areas. But then you get other areas that don't, they don't have the lake view, but they have, nice parks and things like that. And so they're staying because they're hopeful. They're right. Staying because, they've had so many memories, and they're coming into the district because they feel as if they can, have some sort of, it's almost like a suburban feel, but in the inner city, in the city, but a suburban feel. So there are various reasons, but I have met more people than not that say, we're going to stay. So I think that shows that the resilience of the people and the hope that they have that it can turn around.
Right. And so as we are having our conversation today, and you are a candidate for this district,
yes.
What do you want to just, from your heart of hearts, what do you really want to share with the constituents in the 9th Aldermanic District? From your experience, from what you want to see happen, and how you want to engage them in moving the district forward?
That is a great question. I think I tell people when I'm on the doors that this isn't a job for me. this is something that I'm passionate about, that I'm driven to do, and that I feel called to, and that this is my purpose in this moment in time, because the need is so heavy on my heart. I never, I tell people all the time, I never thought about, being in politics in this fashion, being in the forefront. I was perfectly content with being on the grassroots, community organizing side, because, the love of it and the excitement of it, and it's such a, it can get very interesting, and it's very difficult work sometimes, but you do it because you love it, and you love to see the change that comes from it.
Right.
And so I tell people all the time that I'm here because I see the need, not because it's an opportunity, not because, I can advance my career or any of those things. It's solely because I want to see this district changed for the better. And because, parents like myself and others, we want to see something great for our children.
Right.
And so that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And, what I would love to see is more engagement and between the city hall and the constituents, having more town halls, being more accessible, having a place for constituents to come to. That's a dream of mine, having like a satellite office in my district, so that you're not inconvenienced to have to come all the way downtown, find parking and all of that just to come to my office. So I would love to have an office in the district, very accessible, so that you could stop in and see what's going on, get, community happenings, and be that resource for the people. I think that's one of the biggest things that we should be, is a resource. There are so many things, offered by the city, but people don't know about them.
Right.
So I think that that's one of my main jobs. So I would love to be able to have that open communication. I give people my cell phone number when I'm on doors, because I should be accessible. Now, whether or not I'll answer the phone at 2:00 in the morning, that's something different.
Most people won't.
Right. Yeah. If I'm up, which sometimes I am, which is really crazy, even with 3 kids. But I think that's what I offer, and that's why I would be the better candidate, simply because it's time. It's time for some fresh leadership. I'm not saying that my incumbent is a bad person. I don't know that, and I don't think that he is, so I can never say that. I just think that ultimately the reason why I got into this race is because I think it's time for fresh leadership. Just like we can only have a president for 2 terms, I think, the same rules should apply, throughout the levels of government.
Yeah.
Things change, we evolve, and new things happen all the time. And if you're disengaged, what good are you to the people?
Absolutely. Well, as I, think about some of the changes in our city, you spoke earlier about only having 1 woman on the Common Council. Yeah. And I think it would be important to have diversity.
Yes.
Who knows what the outcome of the election will be, but I certainly appreciate a lot of your ideals.
Thank
and
you.
Having accessibility in the district for constituents, I think would be a real plus. Something we didn't talk about, you did talk a lot about the youth and the community. What type, and I know there's some schools there, but does MPS, or are there a number of schools in that district? So when we talk about resources that are available for our youth.
Yes. So we do have a few MPS schools. We have Vincent, then we have Thoreau, and the old Webster, which is now Clara Barton. I'm not sure if that's MPS or not. I'd have to double check. But we do have a few. And then we have, some elementary schools and all of that. But we are a little hard pressed for amazing schools in our district, and that's a concern for a lot of the parents. And I'm pro MPS, and so I know that it's important to have great public education, and so that's why I am an advocate for community schools, and that's why I fight against the takeover, because we don't need to cut funding. We need to add funding, and we need to ensure that all children have access to great public education, no matter their demographic or, their race or whatever. They need to be able to, walk across the street or go down the road and, I just having that vision of just walking out the door and just walking down the street and taking your kid to their classroom and just being able to walk back to the house or going, straight to work. That is something that our residents would love to have, and something that I think is important. So definitely, and I've had a few conversations, well, not a few, I've had a conversation with Dr. Driver, and it was a brief conversation, but, letting her know that I am willing to work with her, and I'll jump at the chance to figure out how we can open up a few of the schools, because we do have like Happy Hill has been closed for several years, and it's an elementary school, and it's right across the street from my parents' house. So how we can utilize that space, either get it open back as a phenomenal MPS school, or open it up as a community center for the, for our young people, having it open to arts. Theater, music, acting, hip hop, all of those things
become that resource again.
Yes.
And so I think our time is winding down.
Wow.
But what I want to do is give you an opportunity to just share why you believe you would be the best candidate and what you want the constituents to know.
Okay. Well, I will tell people, what I want people to know is I'm not as young as I look. I get that all the time, like, wow, you look really young.
And I don't. So, go ahead.
Well, you look phenomenal, by the way, but I'm 36, so I'm not as young as I look. But I think I'm at that ripe age where I have enough energy to do the work, because this is going to take a lot of long hours and a lot of days and nights, making sure that the right connections are made, the right talks are happening, and that we get the district on board, because public buy-in is important. So having the balance between, the businesses, the city hall, and the residents, that's going to be crucial. So I think that having that aspect is huge. And then letting people know that I am a 9/11 veteran. I served in the Air Force before I knew the war was about to happen.
All right.
Yes. So that's.
So it has been my pleasure
Thank you.
to talk with you today.
Same here.
And for our listening and viewing audience, Chantia Lewis, candidate for 9th Automatic District.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
An MCM production.